of Dreamer, which have changed a little bit. Jack felt something warm and sticky on his face, and it took him a while to open his eyes, and when he did, he realized that he was being enthusiastically licked by a ginger tabby cat. It wasn't an entirely unpleasant morning call. He slowly rose to his feet and looked round. He was surprised to be sat on a small bale of hay in the middle of a field. He looked round and all he could see was green. There was lush fields behind him and lush fields to his left and right. Jack could see the top of a church steeple, but he was so far off in the distance. After sucking on a straw for 5 minutes and being distracted by dive-bombing bees, he decided to head for the church. It must be about 5 miles away, he thought as he set off, and he noticed that the sky had a lovely autumn tint of reddish-brown, and it looked like it had been newly painted by an artist. Jack was pleased that the ground wasn't muddy, as the last thing he wanted was to be up to his knees in mud. He whistled to himself as he walked, and the time seemed to fly happily by. When he was halfway across the field, he was surprised to feel a spot of rain on his hair, and when he looked up he could see that the once pleasant sky was turning an angry-looking grey. He wasn't wearing a hat and he didn't have a raincoat, but he wasn't too worried until a trickle of rain then fell on him. Best hurry, he said to himself, and he hoped that the church would offer him some shelter. He was getting there, that was the problem. He walked quicker as the dark clouds swirled around him, and the whirring sound of thunder echoed in the distance, and then the heavens opened. Damn, he said, and he looked into his bag and he found a magazine, which he placed over his head. The rain bounced on it and it sounded like it was being beaten around the head with drumsticks. It offered some protection, but he knew it couldn't last long. He hurried across the field towards the church, which stood like a beacon of open safety in the distance. It was hard going. He judged himself to be about a mile away, and as he was looking forward to being warm and dry, and the sandwiches in his rucksack seemed to grow in importance with his pangs of hunger. The rumbling of the thunder intensified, and then a flash of lightning cut across the sky. It was getting bad. The lightning was getting closer, as if it had a personal vendetta against him, and he knew that the magazine offered little protection for long. The rain was hammering down and it was turning to hail. It was now only half a mile from the church, and he couldn't wait to rest there and dry his soaking clothes. The lightning was coming with more frequency, and it was beautiful but frightening. He quickened his step and then he began to run, but it was too late. Jack never felt the lightning bolt, and he never smelled the smoke from his clothing burning, and he never saw the words of the newspaper crumble and burn. The bees carried on buzzing and flying around, and the rain eventually stopped and a beautiful rainbow hung over the field. Jack didn't see any of these things either. Life had continued with and without him. Hope you enjoyed. Please sub me.